Hey, Paul, what's up?
How you doing, man?
Good, 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 good. Uh, First, I want to thank you for the packages you always send me.
No problem.
No
Oh, you're
qualms, no
welcome.
nothing. I appreciate it and I enjoy it, you know?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm just, I've been following you. I know you're a photographer, and
Mhm.
I've been following your career for years online. And every time you talk about pics, I'm like, I got some more, you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool, 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 cool. Yeah, yeah. Back in the day, I worked for Metal Forces magazine. I'm sure we covered you and stuff like that in our magazine.
sure.
Basically
Yeah, a
magazines,
long time ago. Yeah,
yeah, magazines are gone now. So everything's online. It's kind of disappointing not having like the pinups on my wall and stuff like that, and actually
yeah,
reading it and have property of it,
yeah.
instead of
It's nice to have it in your hand, for sure.
exactly
I
same
agree
thing.
with you.
Same thing with your albums and all your releases and stuff like that. Like even like the vinyl. You want the vinyl now, and that don't mean you're going to play it, but I mean you want the vinyl, then get the CD or download too, and
Yeah,
you got both the best worlds. You know,
yeah. It's nice to look at the vinyl,
yeah, definitely.
even for me. Even when
Yeah,
I get a new vinyl of my own stuff, I'm
yeah,
happy.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah,
just a bigger, yo. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely. And you got some cool colors. I was looking at some of the colors. I think one was white with some splatter, and then another one with some splatter, and then
Yeah,
a
they're
blue
always trying to do
vinyl.
something new. The
Yeah,
label's always trying to come up with a new form, but it's okay.
yeah,
I got
cool.
them in my collection as well. I try to keep one of every different variety.
Definitely, definitely. So, tell me a little bit about your Chicago days, because I mean, if I want to go down all your albums, it'll take a couple hours. So like I was looking at Metal Archives and all your releases and stuff like that. It's just amazing the career you have and still going. You know?
Yeah, I'm still going.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's nothing else I can do. You know?
Wow.
You
Wow.
know, it's like I don't want to start working a job now. For the
Yeah.
last 20 years, I've been successful here in Europe,
Uh-huh.
playing festivals and tours and traveling the world. It's too late to start over.
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely. So tell me a little bit about your days in Chicago, where you were, and
Well, Chicago's where it all began.
right,
Like I grew up in a small suburb of Chicago called Mount Prospect, Illinois.
uh-huh,
And in high school, I was walking down the hallway and singing this song from Yes called "All Good People."
uh-huh,
And some crazy long-haired hippie heard me, and he's like, "Oh, we're looking for a singer in our band. Maybe you want to come and check it out." And
right,
I'm like, I don't know about that, but that really was the beginning of it all.
right,
Is
yeah,
I went to the guy's house, and they were set up in the basement playing cover songs, like Ted Nugent and
mhm,
Black Sabbath and Judas Priest, this kind of stuff.
cool,
And I just did my best to sing a couple songs, and they liked it.
wow,
And really,
definitely,
it was a short-lived thing. We were jamming, we played some shows at school, and other places. It wasn't like for maybe a year. It was a small
right,
thing for me. But it
wow,
was a thing. But they introduced me to rock and roll and heavy metal, I guess, and I got the bug in my ear after that.
right, yeah,
I kept
cool,
going on forever. The
wow,
uh, the guitar player Ron Cook, he ended up going into that band called Thrust.
uh-huh,
So that was kind of cool too. He was like the first one to break out, and
right,
I
yeah,
was playing in a band called Warcry and
mhm,
trying to do my thing, and we ended up on that Metal Massacre 4.
uh-huh,
And that was the beginning for some bands like Thrust and Zoetrope and of course Trouble.
uh-huh, wow, yeah,
For some reason, Warcry didn't take off after that. Some of the other bands did, but Warcry was still stuck in the underground.
right, yeah,
But it was
definitely,
a good beginning for me anyway, because
right,
I taught myself how to play bass, and that pretty much took me to where I'm at today, really.
cool, cool, cool. What music did you listen to back then?
Oh, my older brother had a nice collection in his room, in the basement, and he was working and stuff, and I'd go in there and put on some music and stuff, and he had like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and
Mhm.
he had some Kiss down there, obviously, and Aerosmith, the earlier ones, Rocks, and some of these ones, and that's what I was listening to, really. I
Right.
tried
Yeah.
to play bass along with them when he was at work. He
Uh-huh.
didn't know about it, but but I
Cool.
owe a lot of it to my brother as well, yo.
Right, yeah. Wow. It's hard to believe they call that classic rock now. Like it's old time and stuff like that. More people, I think, listen to that stuff than ever. You know.
Yeah, I
So
do. I still
yeah,
listen to it all. I'm still into the earlier music, of course.
definitely, definitely, definitely. So
That
let's.
was, I mean, for me, that was the best stuff. It still
Yeah.
is, you
Cool.
know.
Yeah. Did you ever get to see any of them bands live?
Oh, I saw Ozzy Osbourne, obviously,
Uh-huh.
with Motorhead.
Hmm.
Uh, I saw Judas Priest many times.
Hmm.
Saxon many times.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of really good band. Motorhead several times.
Right. Yeah.
Venom, a little bit heavier stuff,
Right. Yeah.
but I was into it back then. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
we tried to go to as many shows as we could. Like Accept,
Mhm.
like on the Rest of Some Wild tour. This
Right.
was good times for me.
Yeah.
I was
Definitely.
just discovering this heavy metal and going to these shows and
Uh-huh.
trying to emulate it in my own way, and that's
Right.
really what got me going. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I try to open myself to all genres. I mean, definitely classic rock and glam.
Yeah,
And then
sure.
when I worked for Metal Forces, it's definitely metal. And then they sent me on heavier stuff for like King Diamond, the band
Yeah,
Death,
sure.
the band
Yeah, I
Death.
saw King Diamond, sure.
Yeah, and
Twisted
stuff like that.
Sister,
Yeah,
Queensryche. A lot of these
yeah,
bands were great.
yeah. And then
I
they
got to see them like when they really began, when they just came out.
yeah. Then they got me into even heavier stuff with Dark Angel,
Sure.
Exodus, and you
Yeah,
guys.
great.
So
Moses,
yeah.
good
You know.
stuff.
So I don't. You know, I appreciate a diversity. That's what I want.
Me too, of course. I agree. You
You
can't
know.
just listen to one style of music. There's
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
know.
good stuff out there. I mean, I
Yeah,
like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles.
yeah.
I like King Crimson and a lot of different stuff. Of course,
Right.
yes. Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't live without that music. This is great.
Yeah,
Bowie, David
yeah.
Bowie. Of course, come on.
Yeah. I like when you ask people, what do you like? And they only say like one genre. I said, did you ever hear this
No
band? Did
way.
you heard this band? No, I never did. So how do you know you don't like them? You know?
Yeah.
So open
I mean,
yourself up.
diversity is important. You gotta listen to different styles of music.
Right. Yeah.
For me, it shaped my songwriting. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
I write really, really diverse music. It's not always the same.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I listen to punk bands too, the Ramones, of course,
Right. Yeah.
GBH, Discharge, all this
Uh-huh.
kind of stuff.
Definitely. Definitely. So tell me the first time you got signed by a label, what was that feeling like? And, you know,
Oh,
how'd that go?
yeah. Oh, I have to think back now. The first deal. Well, we got an offer from Combat,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, it was a great thing. But the
Right.
problem was is that the original drummer, he uh, he thought we were worth $1 million at that time, and at the time the genre was just starting to break out.
Right. Yeah.
People didn't know what this kind of music was yet.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah.
There was Motorhead and Venom and Slayer, but we were kind of a little bit different, a
Right.
little
Yeah.
bit more extreme, I guess. But he thought that we deserved $1 million contract. And what didn't help is that this record producer, songwriter, manager,
Right.
his name is Kim Fowley. I'm sure you know the
Oh, yeah.
guy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
He wrote
Yep.
songs for Kiss. He wrote
Uh-huh.
songs for Alice Cooper. He
Yep.
managed the Runaways.
Hmm.
Well, this guy, we met him in the studio when we were recording one of the demos for Master, and he latched on to us. He charged me like $1 a minute to read the combat contract,
Well,
and maybe $200 I paid him. That's not
right.
even the point. But the
Yeah.
point is that he turned it into a multi-million-dollar contract, and Combat Records threw it in the garbage. Well, of
Wow.
course. So
Wow.
that was like the beginning and the ending of Master
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
It took
Yeah.
many years to get another contract.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
By the time we got the contract with Nuclear Blast Records, it was already a big genre. We
Right.
had
Yeah.
a lot of competitors, a lot of guys were already at the top, let's say, and we were starting at the bottom, even though we should have been at the top.
Right. Yeah.
but we made some mistakes, and thankfully I got away from that guy, the
Right.
original drummer, and you know, I don't know where he is now. I think he's in Florida or something, but whatever.
Right.
Point is that he never did another thing in
Wow.
music. He
Wow.
was afraid of his own shadow, and he was a great drummer. He was a
Uh-huh.
good songwriter. He wrote a few songs.
Uh-huh.
I admit that, of course, but he disappeared from the scene. You know, he was more into drugs, and he
Uh-huh.
was afraid of his own shadow. And luckily, I got away,
Right.
and I never looked back, and that's why I'm still here today, because I
Cool.
got away from that guy who was dragging me down. You know.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, you got to move on, you know?
Some
Definitely move.
guys, you know, I mean, some guys just don't have what it takes, you know.
Yeah.
You can be a great songwriter and a great drummer and still stay in the basement for the rest of your life,
Right. Yeah.
which is what he did, you know. He lived with his mom until she passed away some years ago. It was a really terrible situation, you know.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Definitely. So how did Nuclear Blast treat you guys? That was a pretty major label back then.
Oh, they helped us really get started. I mean, once I signed that contract with Nuclear Blast, we got the first record out in 1990. Like I
Uh-huh.
said, which was late
Right.
because the first contract was in 1984, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was like 6 years of waiting, and it really was, you know, it was a big mistake that whole time. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
once we got Nuclear Blast, they took an interest, and you know, that same year they released the album. They brought us out for a European tour with two of my bands, Abomination and Master.
Uh-huh.
And that was really the beginning of it for me, you know.
Cool, cool. Tell me a little bit about Saints of Dispelled that came out last year. It's getting phenomenal reviews. You know,
Yeah, people like it, which makes me happy, you know
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I know,
Nice that you can still put out something that people like,
yeah,
you know, 30
definitely.
years later, and they're not just ripping indie all the time, you know.
Right, yeah. I definitely do read reviews before I do an interview and stuff like that. And like Metal Forces magazine gave you 8 out of 10, Worship Metal,
Right.
8 out of 10, Metal
Yeah.
Temple, 8 out of 10. Then you get to Metal Trenches, 9 out of 10, and the Black Planet, 9 out of 10. Like, I mean, nothing bad.
Yeah, not bad for an old guy. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Do you
We recorded that album a couple of years ago, to be honest with you. It came out last year, but we recorded actually probably 6 months before the release came out in January last year. But you know, I put it together, and that Hammerheart Records decided they wanted to put it out. It took about 6 months because they wanted to do a really good promotion, and they did.
uh-huh,
So I just remembered that, you know, and like we're gonna start working on a new album as well. I think
uh-huh,
it's better to do a big promotion, a big push, even if it's 6 months of promotion.
right.
The chances are better that people are gonna get a chance to hear it and talk about it. You know what I mean? Back in the
Right.
day, we were always in a hurry, you know, get it out right now, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But these guys want to take their time with promotion, and I think in today's world, you have to.
Right, yeah.
There's
Definitely.
just so much competition and so many bands today,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
you
Definitely.
know.
You know. When you saw all the reviews coming in and all positive and stuff like that, what was going through your mind? Like,
It's
I
like
did it.
about time they finally get it, you know. I mean the record. I mean it was like let's say the record before
Uh-huh.
Vindictive Mystery was also great,
Right.
but we didn't have a good label. We didn't have any promotion for it.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
So it just got me back to that reality that you really do need somebody who's interested and knows what they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
The
Definitely.
record company's been pushing me now for a year to do a new record, but I'm making them wait. You know, I just started working on the new songs. I've
Uh-huh.
written like 12 songs, and we just started rehearsing them. So we're gonna take our time. I'm not in a hurry.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you know, come on, take it easy, guys. You know,
All
we
right.
want to put out a good record. I don't want to rush it.
Mm-hmm.
You're competing with yourself on every record. I said we got to do a good album, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And so far, the guys in the band like what I'm writing. So that's also helpful, you
Cool.
know. It's like you put your heart and soul out when you write new songs. You know, I'm
Right.
sitting here in the bedroom on the acoustic writing this stuff and hoping the guys are going to like it. You know,
Uh,
and I like it, but
uh,
sometimes you know,
yeah.
in your mind you're like, oh, maybe they're not going to like it, and all of a sudden you're playing it and they're like, wow, it's cool, it's different, a little bit different, but it's still master. I'm like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
good. You know,
Cool.
so I'm in the right direction anyway. You know.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Um, Tell me the pros and cons from doing an indie label like release to the label that you're on.
Say it again.
Would you rather do an independent release, or you like the label better? Which
Oh, it's
is
better with the label. Yeah, yeah, it's better with the label because they have more money behind them.
right?
You know, they're doing really well with bands like Trouble and a lot of different bands. And that was actually part of the reason why I was interested. I
Uh-huh.
was a little disappointed because I wrote some of the guys in Trouble and they never responded.
Uh-huh.
I had done a couple records, like the re-released the first album a few times with Hammerheart maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and I saw Troubles on the label and the reissue and the whole catalog, and I wrote the guys, hey, it's me, Paul, from back in the day. I actually auditioned for Trouble,
Oh yeah,
and they
cool.
wanted me. It's a long time ago, but it doesn't matter. But
Right,
they never responded, so I was a little disappointed. But in my mind, I said, well. I don't need their input anyway. I'll just make my own decision. And I made the right decision.
cool.
But I was a little disappointed because I thought, we've known each other for a long time, 30
Right,
years. All you
right,
could have said to me was yes or no. I
right.
wrote
Yeah.
something like, hey guys, Hammerheart's interested in reissuing the whole master catalog and how are things working out with them?
Hmm.
Is it something that maybe I should be doing? What do you think? And no answer. But that's life,
Wow.
They're
Yeah.
old guys too, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm going on 62. They're like 64. They're old guys.
Yeah.
Maybe they were too busy to answer.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
that's how it is in the rock and roll business. There's some guys that will answer you, even famous guys. I mean, even
right,
bigger than they are. Write
right.
me or come up to me and hug me at a festival out of the blue, and I'm just, oh, well, hello. And then there's other guys that you don't hear from them.
Wow.
A
Wow.
different thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You say, oh, guys, this year I'll be 67.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll be 62, but yeah, I'm old
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
even 62. But you
Yeah.
look good.
Yeah. Thank you. You too.
You
Yeah.
look good. That's what's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Hair for men helps.
I got you. Super funny. But yeah, I'm okay. I'm hanging in there,
Definitely. Definitely. Tell me a little bit about Abomination and stuff like that. That was the splatter vinyl and the blue vinyl I saw on that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, the label, we've been talking about it for a few years. They started reissuing, they did the entire master catalog on CD,
Right.
and they did maybe 6 or 7 vinyls so far.
Right.
And they said to me, Paul, what about the Abomination? Maybe we'll slow down on the Master for a little bit and reissue some Abomination.
Uh-huh.
And then they said, why don't we, put out the 2 vinyls in different variants and how about a 3 CD box set with the demos? And I found some live recording from 1990 on that Punch and Stench Master Tour.
Right.
And I put it all together in a nice package, a 3 CD box set. And it's coming out, I think, it's August, I think.
Cool. Cool.
And
Cool.
it looks really good. And I mean, you saw some of the pictures. It looks really
Yeah.
good, and it'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just to get the whole package out again. Okay, we reissued the whole package probably 12 or 13 years ago, but it's just the way it is. Some of these releases are just going to be reissued when I'm gone too. I'm sure. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Cool. Cool. And then that box set's called the Complete Annihilation, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Cool.
very cool. A
Yeah.
friend of mine did the artwork again. He's done a couple of master covers over the years as well. He did the Saints Dispelled as well. He's just a great artist, and that's the point about my releases. I'm not going to be doing AI, never.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Definitely.
guy, he makes paintings. He paints
Right.
them for me. It's just none of this computer mumbo jumbo. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
I'm not using AI in my lyrics or in my writing. Why do I want to use artwork either? You got to do it from your heart,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Definitely. Yes. Yes,
But I
sir.
mean, things are changing today. Don't get me wrong, but
Uh-huh.
not me. I'm old school.
Yeah. Hey, you're lucky where you are. You seem like you're comfortable and where you are and stuff like that. And like in the United States, it's like everything's hectic. Like
Oh,
trouble.
it's scary on the outside looking in, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely,
I've got a
definitely.
tour coming up.
I see
Um,
that.
yeah, we're gonna do it's 26 dates. I'm looking forward to it. But
Uh-huh.
people are asking me stupid questions. Oh, you sure you're gonna be all right? I'm gonna be all right. This is rock and roll.
Right.
I mean, I know it's not easy, but you know, you they try to show you the worst about everything and everyone on the news. Of course they do. over
Right.
here as well, you know. They
Uh-huh.
want to talk bad about America. I know that. Okay, I'm not saying, yeah, I know there's some problems, but
Right.
I'm just saying that they want to show you the negative of everybody,
Hmm.
you know, in America is everywhere, you know, and it's kind of scary to me, but I'm not afraid to go home. Of course not. I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to play 26 shows with a bunch of creepy, long-haired, freaky,
Uh-huh.
old and young people that like heavy metal.
Yeah.
That's okay. They're not going to be coming to the you know, to the shows armed with machine guns. No way. It's
Yeah.
not America.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
on TV, but not in real life. I know that, you know.
Cool. Cool. Now that tour starts September 11th through August 11th.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. And you're
No,
tour.
no, 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 no. September 11th through I think October 12th. You know, it's one
Oh, okay.
month.
Oh, yeah. For the.
But no, it's okay.
Okay.
I have to get back because I have a big festival on the 18th in Barcelona that I'm headlining, so I have to get back on time for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And you're co-headlining that with Sinister, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
They just offered it to me, and of course I'm interested. And then we have like 16 shows with them, and then 10 on our own, you know, where we're
cool.
just headlining because we're
Wow.
starting
That's
in
good.
Los Angeles, and we have to get all the way to Kentucky for the first show with them. So we're starting out doing shows before, and then after the tour to get back to LA again. The
Right. Yeah.
guitar player lives in well, he lives in Alaska, but his
Right.
parents live in Los Angeles, so we're going to start in LA. We
Uh-huh.
go stay a few days at their house, rehearse a little bit, and then go, you know.
Right. Yeah. Mhm.
It's
Do
better
you,
for me too, you know.
yeah. Do you feel lucky you get to visit all these countries?
Yeah, you know, I just got an offer just 2 days ago from a guy I know in China, and they want to do 3 shows in China, three in
Wow.
Japan, and maybe one in Thailand. It's a short tour; it'll be like 10 days, but
That's okay.
again, yeah, it's okay. It's long enough. I
Yeah.
don't care. You know, 10-day tour and come home. But again, I do like it. It's nice to experience new places, of course. You
Right.
know,
Yeah. Definitely.
but
Definitely.
that's half of the battle in my world. It's nice to travel everywhere at somebody else's expense. You know.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
I mean, that's how
So,
I look at it. I always looked at it like that, you know. Somebody else is paying for it, and
uh-huh.
you're making some money too on top of that.
Yeah.
I think it's the best job ever, really.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. You guys have a lot of merchandise, right? So, like, tell me a little bit about the merchandise and where people could get it. Yeah, I see merchandise all day long. You know.
Well, you know, the thing is that we're playing shows all the time out here in festivals, and you know, I make like 100 copies of a shirt, and usually before you even go to the tour or the festival, you sell 40 of them online.
Right.
So the
Yeah.
point is that I have to keep making more stuff
Uh-huh.
because they have a fan base that's going to buy it every time.
Right. Yeah.
And then of course, you got the shows you're going to, and you're going to sell another 30 or 40 there sometimes. And before you know it, you're running down and, oh, maybe I better make something new
Yeah.
instead of repeating. I keep trying to put out more stuff
Uh-huh.
and it works, you know?
Yeah. Definitely.
It's really working for me for the last 20 years, really.
Right.
The
Yeah.
merchandise is probably, obviously, the merchandise is the biggest money maker for me. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
it's my only job. So
Uh-huh.
this is okay. You know, I mean, there's plenty of guys out there in rock and roll that I'm not going to mention their names, but they still have a main job,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they're going out on the road for a month here, or a month there every year, and then they have to go back to work right away. Well,
Right.
not me.
Uh-huh.
I'm living
Cool.
off the music. You know, it's a long time now. You know, really about
Yeah.
20 years maybe, but
Yeah.
I'm living for the music and from the music as well, and I'm happy about it.
Cool.
You know, this
Cool.
is
Cool.
why I can talk to you at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you know, this morning I was in the gym. That was my whole day today, you know, whatever.
Wow.
Life
Good.
is good, you know.
Good. Good. So since you've been in music, a long time, um, tell if somebody was coming to you and asking the pros and the cons, what would you tell them?
I just tell them that you got so much competition, and that's not a problem.
Right.
But you know, there's just a lot of back talk all the time. People copying each other.
Hmm.
I'll just say that you got to do your best and make the best of it. And if you're gonna get into music, you're gonna know right from the start it's gonna be a hard life, you know.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you got to practice all the time. You got to keep your fingers limber if you're a bass player, for example, and
Uh-huh.
you got to exercise. You got to watch your drinking. You know, you got to really take care of yourself or you can't do it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, that's why you see a lot of musicians come and go or die, you know,
Right. Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
they don't take care of themselves, you
Uh-huh.
know.
Wow. Wow. So what country? had the best food?
I still really love Mexico.
Uh-huh.
I love Brazilian food.
Right. Yeah.
I love the Czech Republic, of
Uh-huh.
course.
Cool.
Germany,
Uh-huh.
Austria. There's quite a few places.
Right.
But
Yeah.
again, I like the food in Japan as well, but I never tried the Chinese food in China. Maybe
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah. Cool. Well,
I may,
maybe
I
you're
may have a
going there.
different opinion. I may have a different opinion soon. We'll see. You know.
Cool. Cool. So, what's a typical day for you? What time do you get up, and what do you do right away?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, well, we'll talk about today. Today wasn't like a really busy day, but okay.
Uh,
Today I got up about 20 after 6 today.
mhm.
Did my normal in the bathroom thing, took a shower.
Right.
I got to the gym at about 7:15. I
Uh-huh.
got on a treadmill and walked on that till about 7:35. Then I got together with two of the young guys and the owner of the gym, and they kicked the shit out of me for 2 hours of
Uh,
hard labor,
right.
starting on the mat,
Uh-huh.
doing push-ups and sit-ups and all this crap, and then doing heavy weights. It was about 2 hours.
Wow.
I came home, I had breakfast,
Uh-huh.
and and then I've been screwing around for the last 3 hours trying to get my Hotmail back online.
Right.
2 days ago, my Hotmail went offline, and I can't get it back online. I
Wow.
changed the password like 10 times.
Uh-huh.
I called a toll-free number in America and talked to a lady for 20 minutes just before I talked to you,
Right.
and I still can't get it. Why it won't go back? I can't get it back on. So
Wow.
I'm hoping that I can get somebody out here to come over and help me figure out what's blocking it. But it's strange. It happened
Right.
to me. It happened to me a few times, like when I'm on tour. But
Right.
then I come home and I'm on my normal computer like now, and I figured out how to fix it. I'd fix it 4 or 5 times, but now there's no fixing. I can't do it.
Wow.
And I'm 62 almost, like I said, and I don't have a lot of patience, so I have to find somebody to help me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's why I
know.
got.
Okay,
That's
so
why I
that's
got
it.
a. That's why I got a wife. She does that
Yeah, okay.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, but she's in the kitchen working. I have a
Yeah.
wife too. She's working,
Uh,
so
yeah.
she don't have time to mess around with me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
point is that we had lunch and then I was just waiting to get a hold of you. I just had some coffee and a couple
Uh-huh.
of cookies and called you.
Cool. 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 So what's it?
So I'm just saying most of my day is pretty free. Okay. Sometimes, like I said to you, I'm mowing the lawn or
Uh-huh.
like today we rode the bicycle 35 kilometers and went swimming.
Uh-huh.
And I'm riding the bike like 3 days a week, the bicycle 2 or 3 days a week. I'm at the gym 2 or 3 days a week, and I practice when the guys aren't busy. We try to practice once a week. It's not easy to get them together, but we do.
Uh-huh.
And lately, like we had 5 festivals in June, so it was a busy month.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
So,
Uh,
you're driving to Germany and driving back. I'm just saying, you spend the
right.
night, drive back. And
Hmm.
but the festivals were great. A lot of great people. I have to hang out with Schmier. I hadn't seen Schmier in like 10 years. He
Hmm.
brought this up. I ran into him. He hugged me at the festival. He's like, Paul, the second day, he's like, Paul, wait, I haven't seen you in 10 years. And
Uh-huh.
we got three festivals this week. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, you know how it is? I said, rock and roll. He's like, yeah, crazy, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, you
Cool.
know.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Is music everything you expected it to be going into music almost your whole life?
Oh, I thought we would be more popular by now, but doesn't matter. At least people still buy the record and still
Uh-huh.
clap at the show, and you know. So that's
Uh,
okay. I figured we would be bigger, but like I said to you earlier on in the interview, we made a lot of mistakes in the beginning.
right.
But the point is, and nobody will ever take that away from me. The point is I never gave up. Everybody knows that, and even the fans, and they still come and see me. And even sometimes the heavyweights are in the
Right.
audience and come
Well,
up and shake my hand afterwards because
right.
they know that I'm not going anywhere. That I'm still fighting on to the end.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. When you're on stage and you see somebody singing along with you, what's that feeling like?
Oh, that's great. And
Yeah.
it happens a lot of
Uh,
times. Still.
right.
Yeah, sure. Okay, we're not as big as Destruction. Okay, they're much
Right.
bigger. Good for them. But a guy like Shmir, he can see that I'm still fighting, and he respects me, and that's why he walked up to me and hugged me. Because he knows.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. So what
That's
is it like?
important.
What is it like giving out autographs?
Oh, it's kind of like not my favorite thing to do, but it's part of it. And like they have these. I read something you said earlier today,
Uh-huh.
which made me smile. I don't do meet and greets, okay?
Uh-huh.
I don't have to
Uh-huh.
because the meet and greet is me at the merch stand. I sell my own merch.
Right.
Now, once in a while, like once in a while, there'll be a really big festival,
Right.
with really big bands, and they won't let me do that. But so then what I do is that every hour I go over there, stand there, and say hello to people,
Right.
watching all these people buying my shit, and I'm signing autographs and taking pictures for
Uh-huh.
free.
Yeah.
But the point is, most of the time, anybody can come up to me and talk to me at the merch stand because I'm normally there
Right.
myself.
Cool.
Every show, just like I said, sometimes it's too big, the fest, I can't do
Yeah.
it. They're like, fuck you, we want 15%, we're gonna
Uh,
do it. But I go in there anyway. Hello,
yeah.
everybody, give away free picks.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's
Definitely.
your meet and greet from me. It's free, and
Yeah.
I think it's better. Okay, I've got some friends that I don't want to mention
Right.
that are making great money from meet and greets, but I think it's better to the fan to meet and greet me for free.
Right. Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
without the fan, I'm not going to be there. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
So,
my opinion. I know maybe some people wouldn't agree, but it's the way it is.
wow. So you have anything else coming up you like to talk about? Uh,
Just like I said to you, the new album I'm working on, the Abomination reissues. I'm waiting for mushroom season. That's like one of
uh-huh.
my favorite hobbies.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, like 2 weeks ago, we were in Germany on a festival, and I had a feeling there was probably mushrooms, and I went into the post office doing my package delivery on like Wednesday last week,
Right.
and the postal lady spoke to me in Czech and smiled and showed me a picture of her dad with
Uh-huh.
a whole tray full of mushrooms. And she said, "Oh," so both I'm like, "Oh, I was in Germany."
Yeah.
So I missed it. I missed it.
Cool. Cool.
Normally, no, normally it's like you're not going to find mushrooms until, let's say, September, October.
Right.
It's very
Yeah.
rare that you find them in June, but once in a while, some years you do. You get lucky. I missed it, but okay, doesn't matter.
Cool. Cool.
I'd be
So,
smiling.
so what's your favorite mushroom?
Oh, well, I don't know if I didn't really have to show you pictures.
Okay.
There's tons of different mushrooms.
Uh,
Some of them grow in America. Sometimes I see them online in America. People write me, "What about that?" When I look at it, well, it looks just like the one here.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't, I don't want to tell them eat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
like
Definitely.
you better have somebody in America.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but there's like special ones that I find under the trees in the forest, and they're really hard to find. And sometimes I get lucky and find tons of them.
Right. Yeah.
There may be probably 10 different kinds that I look for, but it's all Czech names, so it
Yeah.
couldn't get
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
As long as you're enjoying yourself, that's the main thing.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
it's great exercise too, of course. I had to
Cool.
keep in shape.
Definitely. Definitely. Well,
Oh,
Paul,
man.
it was great talking to you, and
Yeah, you too. It's really
you
easy
know.
and relaxing for me. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No problem.
Sometimes the guys are so serious and
Uh,
I'm an easygoing guy. I'm fine. You
that's
know.
why I had a couple people working with me and stuff like that, and I says, "Why don't you do some interviews?" Oh no, no, I'm not doing that. No, people see me. Like, yeah, they got to
Fine.
see you. They're just like you. They got to go to the bathroom just like you.
Exactly. And that's what I always say, we all got the same problems. Everybody, come on,
Definitely, definitely.
you
Cool,
know,
cool.
we're all
So,
human.
yep. So,
You
would you
know.
like to say anything to the fans out there before we end?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I hope you come out in America. But I really think it's going to be my last tour in
Uh,
America. I really think so. So if
uh-huh,
you want to come out and see it one more time, you got 26 chances.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks,
So
man.
thank you very much for the interview. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed talking to you. It's great.
No, no
Yeah.
problem. Thanks, Paul, man. See you later.
All right. All right.
Bye
Take
bye.
care. Thanks, buddy.